If you've ever taken a wrong turn that turned out to be the right one, if you've ever wondered what's over the next hill, if you've ever been curious if you're the only one with a story to tell, well, you're on the right road. Let's explore this narrow road together. Hey, thanks for joining me this morning. Look at that beautiful sunrise. There's just a little bit of fog out here. It's great. I want to take you to one of my favorite places to meet somebody. So, let's ride. Okay, it was a perfect ride this morning, and I wound up at my favorite coffee place, one of my very favorite coffee places. This is Barrel House Coffee in Ball Ground, Georgia. Lovely place, and this is where sometimes I get to run into my good friend Chuck, who looks like Santa for a reason, because,
There's a part I'm playing this winter. I can't really go into it right now, but
he's already getting ready for Christmas, and it's good. So, okay, Chuck, you got your coffee. You're ready here. We even went away from the Danishes. You're making me be good. So, my wife's out of town. She'll love to hear that. But this is the question I want to ask you. Is the question we ask everybody: is have you ever been down a road that few people or nobody was ever on, and it made a difference?
you know, Greg, I love this question because I remember when you posed it to me, and all these different thoughts popped in my head, and not only the road that I've been on, but still on, right?
Yeah.
So I go back to, I was trying to think through all the different milestones, and I think back to Joshua, when Joshua was instructing them to put different stones in the Old Testament to look back and remember God's faithfulness. And so that's something that I keep looking back at, not from the standpoint of looking back and regret or looking back and longing for, I wish I could go back to that, because we're in the present and we're moving forward. But from the standpoint of, in times that I find myself wondering, you know, where is God? Where is He in this moment? Why don't I necessarily feel Him present? Why don't I see Him acting as I've seen Him in the past? It's a remembrance to go back those different markers. And so I love that about just placing the stones from the Old Testament. And I go back to that a lot, thinking, yeah, God's been faithful. He's going to continue to be faithful. So if I go back to high school, where I first accepted Christ, and I was just part of a church. I was brand new, didn't really know what I had done or what I was entering into. Southern Baptist Convention was trying to create a training center in Tanzania because they could no longer use Uganda. And they put out this call to our church in North Augusta, South Carolina, wanting people to go and build this training center. And I had this calling back then as a high school student of like, surely they're not going to let me go. I don't think I've ever held a hammer. I certainly don't know anything about construction. Why would they let me go? And but they did. It was the first time I'd been on a plane, and I ended up with one of the principal of my high school was on this trip, and it ended up being like the small group of about 6 people.
So are you like the only high school student on
The
this
only
trip?
one. Yeah, this was not a high school trip, and the fact that they let me go was remarkable in itself. And so I'm with all these adults that I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to learn a lot. That trip was transforming in so many ways because we got more accomplished than any larger group had before. So it was all just a God thing. I saw more and experienced more from an entire different culture in a third world country than I ever had before. It was so transformative. It was like, I'll be back one day. That was in 1980. Graduated in 1981 from high school. Went off to college. I had no idea what Africa was going to look like, going forward. I'm driving home. If I get the timeline right, we moved to Tampa, have 2 kids, moved back to Atlanta, have 1 more kid, and I'm driving, and I hear this call, another call. For at the time it was Dream for Africa and Bruce Wilkinson, who did the Prayer Jabez and who did other stories. And he was building, he was ministering to people in Kenya, South Africa. He was doing it in South Africa. And I thought, well, that's interesting. Maybe this is my calling. And all throughout my span of life, I've always called them billboards. That God has put up billboards in my life, and some I see and I ignore. Unfortunately, others are just repeated. In the old days, now it would be Buc-ee's. In the old days, it was south of the border. That every few miles you would see the south of the border is only 118 miles away, and on and on. But those billboards that would just continue to be put in my path that I would see and hopefully recognize would be things that would be like, I need to pay attention to this. Not sure where it's going to lead. Not sure what's going to happen. And so there were multiple things that happened with this kind of call to South Africa and Dream for Africa. And so I reached out, tried to figure out how I could be a part of that. They asked me if I could lead this group, and so we did. Now, that was in 2005, into 2005, somewhere in that. So this has been about 25 years since I'd stepped foot in Africa to begin with. Now, so as part of that trip, and I could go into 100 different stories of all about that, but now this fire had been reignited about Africa in general. And about that time, I heard about this organization, or this thing that Lanny Donahoe was kind of putting out there, a different way of doing ministry into a community.
Yeah.
And I had gone to several different meetings he was doing. I wanted to be a part of that. They want to bring all these different ministries to bear instead of just the people that were doing water, the people that were doing AIDS education. They wanted to bring all those to bear into a community and make a change in that community.
Yeah.
As opposed to, hey, can we get clean water to everybody in Africa? When I sat in with Lanny and he proposed this, I thought this is brilliant. Because so many ministries are so myopic in what they focus on, which is amazing. So I was leading several trips to Kenya on behalf of 410 to these different communities in Kenya.
Okay, now let me turn this back to the way you started, telling me about the stones that you can remember.
Yeah.
And so you've got this high school kid going over in a group he wasn't supposed to be in, kind of junior member of a group going over to make a difference. And now, seasoned man, he's seen a few trips to Africa and seen some things happen.
It's on my business card now.
but yeah, so you walk into it because you know the roads you have been on.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. But my reality is, as I look back over God's faithfulness in the past, that I keep being focused on the fact that I know He's faithful. I know that He's there. I know that even in what I may feel as silence of action or activity, that He's not absent. And so because of that, I know that I don't know what's happening next. In the span of the last few years, I've been able to take care of some different health issues in my family, my immediate family, which I would not have been able to do if I was working a steady 9-to-5 job. And I'm just having to relearn, be patient, find peace or find comfort in the discomfort. It's a great way to put it. In where I am right now, which is not unlike where I was at any other point in my life. It's just that things seem to be answered, kind of went, positively all along the way.
Oh man, thanks for talking today. And I love hearing your answer to your narrow roads.
Roads.
Lot of them, and a lot of stones behind you.
Yeah.
Love you, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Appreciate it.
Hey, if you like that, remember, please hit like and subscribe. Please, please, please. Now, we all know the roads in our past led us to where we are now. I think for Chuck, it was a lot more. For Chuck, I think he was trying to tell us that his roads led him to faith and to resilience and confidence in the road he's on today. I think that kind of peace and purpose, well, it only comes with some great mileage. I hope you're racking up some great miles today. And you know what? If you have a story we need to hear, well, let me know about it in the comments. Or if you know a story we need to ride out and get, let me know. Remember, ride safe out there and wave at somebody as you pass, because it's what we do.